Part 2. Silver Snow. Harpstring Moon. The Impregnable Fortress. After seizing the Great Bridge of Burden, the Resistance Army starts making preparations to invade Imperial territory, when a surprising piece of information comes to light.
Emergency! In Gronder Field!
We are in the middle of a military conference. Please, calm yourself and tell us what is the matter.
Yes, sir. It seems the Kingdom and Alliance armies clashed with Imperial forces on Gronder Field. Amid the chaos of three armies battling each other out there, the Imperial army was routed. Edelgard sustained heavy wounds and retreated to Enbar.
Well then, I suppose.
Sir, the Kingdom army was also decimated, and His Highness Dimitri has been counted among the dead.
What?
The Alliance sustained heavy casualties as well, and the whereabouts of their leader, Claude, is currently unknown.
Unknown? It must have been a brutal fight. To have lost His Highness. How tragic. Our only solace is that Edelgard sustained severe injuries. This is all quite unexpected, but we must find a way to use this situation to our advantage. The Empire's main force has suffered a mighty blow. Edelgard will most certainly avoid the front lines. Now is the time for us to infiltrate the Empire and aim for the capital.
But what will happen to the Lords of the Old Kingdom and Alliance territories?
They have lost many leaders and soldiers. I am sure they must be hard at work rebuilding. We will foster cooperation by aiding them through the local churches. The remaining Lords of the Kingdom and Alliance must join together to form one union. And you should be the one to lead them. What do you say? Indeed, it is a question for another day. We must focus on our battle with the Empire. For now, what is our next course of action? We must choose a place within the Empire that will give us solid defenses for our front line. That will become the foothold for our invasion of the capital. There is one massive fortress that boasts the greatest defenses in the Empire, Fort Mercius. We will stand no chance if we attack by traditional means. We must gather everyone and devise a plan of attack.
It has been a lifetime, hasn't it, Professor? Yes, I thought so too. I wanted to slice her throat, but I did not get the chance. I let people die, and yet I still stand. Rodrigue, Gustav, Dedu. You sound just like Rodrigue. A reason. Everyone gives such complicated advice, and I can never quite grasp it all. That is why, Professor, I came here to explain my decision. I have no resources to take back the kingdom capital, much less to defeat the Empire, and that is why...
Professor, you will catch a cold sleeping in a place like this. Is something the matter? I am the only one here. Were you dreaming? I can't say for certain that you were dreaming, but if someone did come here to see you, that person only wanted you to see their face. Perhaps they wanted you to guide them.
Hey, I could use a hand. Thanks. I'm glad I asked you.
I only know what little I overheard. But what I did hear implied that the Empire was involved in the tragedy of Dusker. If it's true, that may explain why His Highness chose to fight the Empire. Perhaps I should have fought alongside His Highness. No, not anymore. I am where I belong. Those of us still on this plane of existence will carry the torch. The inhumane actions of the Empire must not be repeated.
Okay.
Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude, all the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder. I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
So, you know, Professor, laying siege to a keep is like asking a girl out on a date. First, you get past her defenses, then you make your move. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a seasoned veteran at this kind of thing. Girls, I mean. I've never actually, captured any keeps. Anyway, you know more about tactics than me, so I don't know why I'm offering you advice.
Fort Mercius is old and strong. Its reputation for durability is equal to that of Aryan Road. Are you certain your plan is sufficient? It seems to be a little simplistic. That's not terrifically reassuring. Shouldn't you have more faith in your own plans? Incidentally, have you heard any news of Claude? I, for one, have a hard time believing he is dead. He was always a clever and tenacious sort. I, for one, have a hard time.
It hasn't sunk in yet. They slaughtered the boar. I can hardly believe it. I thought he was alive all this time. He must have really hated Edelgard to lead such an ill-advised assault. No point in feeling sorry for the poor scoundrel now.
I have excitement in my heart for secret tactics. I enjoy attacks that are surprising. Surprise attacks are safe with friends. Fewer injuries.
The battle at Gronder Field certainly took an unexpected turn, did it not? Let us press on, so as not to waste the opportunity. Fort Mercius is a keep that was constructed to defend the imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, the city should be almost entirely at our mercy. I will make the necessary preparations. Be ready.
Could I trouble you?
I wonder, do you happen to know the nickname? Indeed, a very good answer. But of course, you'd know that. Seems Fodlans give everyone and everything a nickname. Why, you were called the Ashen Demon. Myself, I have been called the Father of Crestology, which is a nickname as well as a title, I suppose.
Each step richer. That's how the...
Professor, they tell me my father died at Gronder. Was that really a fitting end for one such as him? I don't know. I just don't know.
Teacher. Dimitri, the late Prince of Fargus. He despised the Empire with all his heart. He should not have tried leading an army while his emotions were holding him captive. True enough, but I suspect the reason he died is that he could not keep his emotions in check. I see. You are saying you met with Dimitri, but you could not tell if it was reality or a dream. I wonder what that could mean.
your leadership, we can win any battle, no matter the odds. That's what everyone's saying, anyway. Hope you can keep up with our expectations, Professor.
Hey!
It's not that I don't sympathize with Lady Edelgard's goals, mind you, but perhaps not to the point of shedding blood for her ideals. I must keep her example in mind as I chart a new path. Peace in Fodlan and a restored House Nouvelle shall be my guiding star as I blaze my own trail.
Oh, it's Sedith. I'd better slip away before he...
Ah, I see you are indulging in a bit of reading. You are fond of books, I take it?
Yes, reading's one of my favorite pastimes. I was just finishing up, actually, so I think I'll...
That is most fortuitous.
Fortuitous? How do you figure?
Come with me. I have a story to share with you. Once upon a time, deep in the cold mountains, there lived a lazy fox and an industrious squirrel. The squirrel worked tirelessly all day long, while the fox did nothing but lounge around and play. When autumn came, the squirrel hurriedly gathered up acorns for the winter. But the fox continued to play without a care. A biting winter fell upon the land. The mountains, caked in snow, concealed all nourishment from sight. The hungry fox went to the squirrel's dwelling, but the squirrel had locked up tight and gone to sleep. Every so often, the squirrel would wake, enjoy a nibble of an acorn, and then return to an easy slumber. The fox, on the other hand, with nowhere else to turn, was forced to scrounge for food in the bitter cold of the forest. Forlorn and hungry, he wandered in solitude all through the winter, until spring came once more. And so it is to this very day that foxes are denied the comforts of hibernation.
Ah, I really learned something about foxes. I read lots of fairy tales like that when I was little. But the lazy fox and the industrious squirrel, huh? That one I don't think I've heard before.
That is not surprising, considering I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it?
I did. When Flame was young, she loved fairy tales more than anything. I would read them to her often. This one, however, is a more recent creation. I wrote it for the benefit of the children in the monastery. So, what do you think? I'm curious to hear what sort of impression it made on you.
It's so cute!
You found it to be cute?
I can just see it now. You writing fairy tales for your little sister. That's just the cutest thing. Honestly, to me, you usually come across as stern and overly perceptive. But now I know you have a sweet side, too. I feel like I'm seeing you in a whole new light.
That is not what I was hoping to hear.
If the Empire rallies its forces and attacks Garreg Mach, I'm not so sure Abyss will be okay. If we're not careful, it'll end up buried in rubble. Ever the valiant one. But nobody ever knows how a war will turn out. That's part of the deal, you know. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I want to ensure there's still a refuge for people to escape to.
Thank you so much. I am grateful. Thanks so much.
I have a question. I see.
Professor.
Thank you.
I'm confident in our chances.
Right. We did well enough.
All that work was worth it.
It seems my proficiency...
Technique never betrays.
I passed, as expected.
I, for one...
I've heard Dedue's passed on, just like His Highness. That's what I've heard. But no one's found his body. If somehow he's still alive, I hope we'll meet again.
Professor, surprise it. Under you. That's what everyone.
Teacher, I see, but you couldn't...
Could be. Those of us...
Well...
Oh, each Richard. That's how the... There's still more to learn.
What?
The battle, let us fort. We cannot. I will make.
I'm getting the hang of this.
I like this idea of yours, dressing as Imperial soldiers so they'll let us in. But don't you wish there was one more twist in the plan? Come on, Professor, think. How could we add another wrinkle, Said it's dressed as a woman. I don't understand what the point of that would be. On second thought, let's just stick to the plan as originally conceived. That seems safer.
Did you give the ridiculous order to prepare Imperial armor for every one of our troops? I've reached out through all of my channels, but there are limits to these things. I'll have to recruit an entire town's worth of people if I ever plan on making enough. Did you? I'll have to...
Peace in Fodlan.
It's within my grasp.
Professor.
Look at our excellent results.
I'm glad I'm getting the hang of it.
I must always...
I'll try to put this...
Ingrid, are you familiar with the story of the King of Liberation and the 10 elites of Fodlan?
Of course. They were the heroes who struck down evil with the power of the sacred weapons, protecting our land and people. Their strength was passed down through the ages, manifesting itself in the crest some of us are born with.
Yes, the 10 elites certainly possessed great power. But does that make them worthy of worship?
I imagine you ask because they later fought amongst themselves, turning on one another, ravaging the land.
Precisely. Initially, Nemesis and the 10 elites worked together to bring peace to Fodlan. But soon their ambitions got the best of them, and they clashed, using their sacred weapons on anyone they chose, strong and weak alike. What I mean to say is, possessing strength alone does not make one worthy of respect. Rather, one should be judged by how they choose to use that strength.
Yes, I agree.
If you follow that logic, then you will see it also applies to those who are born with crests. Now think of how your father wishes to wed you to another family's fortune on the basis of your crest.
Yes? What of it?
These are purely inherited qualities. Is it not foolish to judge a person's value by some inherited fortune? That is all a crest is, really.
That's what I think too. Having a crest or not has no bearing on your worth as a person.
I understand that Count Galatea believes he has the right to manage your affairs. I am certain he has his own share of problems. And I do not wish to meddle or lay blame. But if there is anything I should like to say to his daughter, it is this. How you live your life is up to you.
Thank you for your counsel and wisdom, Sedith. Father's hopes were dashed long ago. I will take some time to reflect on what lies ahead. My future.